What is going on, folks? Chris with Journals Comics. It is Friday. This is Friday Night Live. We made it. It's been a crazy week, guys. For those of you who were here for my live show that I did last night, or live stream, just discussing, my gratitude for all of you and everything that happened this week. But so I do want to acknowledge all of you once again, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I want to get past that and really do my best to have a good show tonight. It's Friday. We're here for a reason. We got some fun comic book related stuff to talk about. So I want to make that happen with all of you guys. We are going to say what's up to folks that are already hanging out. We got Dale hanging out. What's going on, Dale? Brandon, Ashley Love. We got Shadow Rat, Travis Tubbs. Let's see. Peter Thornton's here. Lowbrow. Dan. Viper. We got You're Next. Yes, I will be. Yep. X11. Fight the Good Fights here. Marvel Goddess is here. And let's see. Mikey. What is going on, folks? Yeah, before we get started, let's have a moment, guys. Let us have a moment for one of the greats. Neil Adams passed away today. Really sad to hear. Just a revolutionary in this comic book industry. His art influenced so many people and influenced this hobby and industry in such a way that really, like I said, revolutionized it. So I'm going to take a few seconds of silence to pay tribute to the great Neil Adams. All right, guys, for sure. So I'm sure, we'll be keeping up on, everything that's going on when it comes to celebrating Neil and his legacy. I'm sure we'll talk about it some on the Canon on Sunday. But yeah, let's say what's up to a few more folks. We got CK in the house, Sag. What is going on? Ernesto, what's going on? I saw Matt Labno. Catch you on the replay. Right on, Matt. Charles. Oh, I passed yesterday. Okay, thanks, Charles. Yeah, I got the news today. So let's do what we do. We got a few updates before we get into the actual show. Get some time for some more folks to come in here, but Slimy Sellers, folks. Slimy Sellers. We got a lot to talk about. Few updates. Comic Book Canon, 2 days from now. Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Please find us there. Join us there. If you're not subscribed to us on the Comic Book Canon channel, that link is below, where we have live shows, like I said, every Sunday. We may be taking the following Sunday off for Mother's Day. We will keep you posted. All right. Now, I still have a couple of prizes to give away for my 10K subscriber contest. Those have been delayed due to personal reasons. Many of you may know why, but I will get up on those as soon as I possibly can. We have that Spectacular Spider-Man 64 CGC signed signature series, First Appearance of Cloak and Dagger. I was going to run one more video this week for an opportunity to have people to enter. That did not happen because of everything that was going on. So I will be doing one more video this coming week, where you guys will be able to watch that video, subscribe to the channel, click like, click notification, comment on that video to have a chance to get entered into winning that awesome slab. And then we are going to have the other grand prize giveaway done live. I was going to have it be this following Friday Night Live, but again, because of just everything going on, it most likely is going to be probably 2 weeks out. But again, I will keep you guys posted. Follow my YouTube. Follow my Instagram for updates as well at journos_comics. Let's see. Anything other than that? Tony's in the house. What's going on, Tony? That's my cousin. Sean Ryan, what's going on, Sean? E-Dub, what's up, EW? Otaku. All right, guys. Okay, guys. Man, let's do it. That's all I got. Oh, one more thing. When it comes to whatnot, when my next sale is going to be, I know a lot of you guys asked yesterday. I don't know. Please hold tight. Go follow me there on whatnot at Journos Comics. And I will be keeping you guys posted because I have a lot of big things planned. Just a lot on my plate. And you know that I like to go all in on my sales. So I don't like to just half-ass them just to have a sale, just to be consistent and have a sale every week and do some half-ass stuff. I want to make sure what I'm doing is solid for all of you guys as well. But let's get into it, guys. Slimy sellers. What do I mean by slimy sellers? Why is the show today called Slimy Sellers? So, I recently have talked about multiple concerns about the comic book community or industry. I like to be the optimist. I always say that. I like to be very optimistic. And I don't shame a certain group within the industry. So, you know, you have those people that speak in extremes. Variants are ruining the hobby. Speculators are ruining the hobby. Comic books are meant to be read. You know, all this stuff, you know, I'm not about that. There is a place for everybody in this hobby for however you collect. Get yours. Pedro, what's going on, Pedro? Right? Jesse, what's up, Jesse? So, I also have recently talked about Whatnot. The live sales. Now we have Whatnot revolutionized the game, and I love Whatnot to death. Obviously, I sell on Whatnot. I recently talked about crazy prices on Whatnot. But I also talked about how it's not necessarily the seller's fault. It's the buyers that are hopping into these live sales and just going crazy with the FOMO, with whatever you want to call it. And they're paying $200 for a book in the same grade or a lower grade than one that's on eBay for like literally half the price or a quarter of the price. But today we are going to focus on sellers. We are absolutely going to focus on sellers. And I'm going to talk to you guys about what I believe to be a problem in this community right now. And it has a lot to do with the surgence of online live sales, whether it be on Whatnot, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on Facebook. It doesn't matter what platform. It doesn't matter at all what platform. So there are specific sellers that I see, and I tell you guys this, and if you guys are sellers and you're watching my channel and you're watching my show right now, look, man, it is what it is. You may see me pop up in your show, and it may not to say that I'm trying to police anybody, because I'm not. First off, I'm not going to put anyone on blast tonight. I'm not here to put nobody on blast. I'm not going to say anybody's names. That's not the way I do things. Look, you reap what you sow. I believe in karma. I don't need to be doing that. But I am shedding light and talking about situations to help you collectors out there. But if you guys are sellers and you see me pop up in a show, and if you got a guilty conscience, you know, it's almost like when you're driving on the highway and you're hitting 80 in the 65 and you see the cop on the side of the road and you're like, oh, I got to slow down, right? Like that's how some sellers be like when they see me pop up into the Whatnot sale, you know, because you can see join Journos Comics and they're like, oh, there's Journos. Like, shoot, I better be an honest seller now or something like that. I don't know. Look, it is what it is. I love kicking back on Whatnot and just popping into random sales. I'm popping in. I'm seeing what they're selling. I'm seeing how they're talking. I'm seeing how they're doing it. There are so many really humble sellers out there. There are so many really fun sellers out there. And then there are some real slimy sellers out there. I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm going to give you guys an example of something I just recently saw. And like I said, I'm not putting anyone on blast. I'm not doing it. But I took some screenshots Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I'm just looking at it. So this individual seller was auctioning books at starting bid prices that were like 2 to 3 times that of buy it now prices on eBay currently. And look, I'm not bashing that because hey, you can start your bids at whatever price you want. That's completely fine. That's on you. If nobody buys it, nobody buys it. And hey, like that's your threshold. I get it. I like screenshots. Viper got approved to sell and whatnot. That's awesome, especially being from Canada. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? Whatnot is hot right now. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But back to this seller. This seller, not only was he pricing these comics extremely high, and nobody was bidding. There was a couple that were bid on. And I'm like, ugh. But I was watching his show for a good 20 minutes. And I think 3 books sold. out of all of the ones that he put up. And he was doing quick auctions, like 15 to 30-second auctions, I think. This guy was saying, this is a 9.8. So he's like, all right, this is fire right here. This is a 9.8. It's a 9.8, $400 starting bid. So what's my first red flag right there? My first red flag. Hi, Nathan. What's going on? Hi, Nathan. I love your handle. You're next. My first red flag is, and this is just me, folks, just my opinion. You never call a raw book 9.8. You never call a raw book a 9.8. Now, I would never do this, but you could say this book this book seems flawless. It has 9.8 potential. I do believe that you can say that. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't do that. I usually don't say that for those that watch my whatnot sales. If it's 9.4 and higher, I call it near mint, and then I say that. If a book is labeled near mint, it means it's 9. I think it's a 9.4 up, because when you get into the subjectivity of 9.4, 9.6, and 9.8, I ain't gonna be the one to sell you a book and call it a 9.6, and you go and get it graded and it's a 9.4. I'm especially not gonna be the one to sit and call a book a 9.8 and it comes back and you get a 9.4. I'm not doing that. Not doing that whatsoever. Comic fan, what's going on? Jose. So, this guy was calling raw books 9.8s. That's a red flag. Another thing he was doing was he was selling a raw variant book. He said it was a 1 in 100, and which I'm very well sure it could be. He was selling it for 150. And he was doing 2 things that I believe are a red flag. One, he was saying that this book is rare. These are the books that you need to be paying big money for. All those other books, and he was talking about like first prints and your standard covers, they're mass produced. You pay big money for these books right here, the 1 in 100s. And first off, it was like a 1 in 100 that I had never saw. Nobody bid on it. Nobody bid on it. And then what he was saying was, you take this a 9.8 right here. Buy this book off me for 150. You go send it to CGC and sell it for $600, and that's making you money right there. And then he was going on to say, I'm educating you. I'm educating you guys right now how to make money. Woo! Look, man, I've been around it. I've been around it in the streets. I've been around it in job environments. I used to sell cell phones. I'll tell you, man. Did I tell you guys a story about the dude that I work with, that you get the 80-year-old grandpa coming in and he wants one of those like emergency type flip phones that it only has like 2 buttons, a call and an emergency button, right? And he's coming in there and he's like, I don't understand these phones today. I don't want no TV screen on my phone. I need to call my daughter, like, or something like, I need something that'll work with my, like those emergency buttons or something. This dude would come out the back with an iPhone, and the 80-year-old man is walking out of the door with a brand new iPhone. That's slimy, folks. That's slimy. Okay? The problem with this type of tactics in the cell phone business, it's called retention. Cell phones, business companies, at least back then, used to make money off of the contract, not the phone. Companies would make very little money off the phone. They make money off of that 2-year contract. But you know what would happen with this guy that would be slimy as hell to everyone? He wouldn't listen to anything they wanted. What they really wanted, he would be slimy as hell to sell them what he wanted to sell them. They would come back and return it. So, can't sit here and talk about returns when it comes to comic books, but this is not a good practice whatsoever. So, what are the few things that I went over? Calling a raw book a 9.8, pushing the fact that just because it's a 1 in 100 that it's going to be worth money, because that doesn't mean anything. Again, this goes back to basic supply and demand. Rarity does not equal value. Rarity does not equal value. There could be 5 things of something created on any market, and if not one person wants one of those 5 things, it's going to be worthless. Nobody wants it. I don't care if there was if this is a store exclusive 1 in 100 of some random comic book that nobody cares about. Nobody's going to pay $150 for it. So that's the second thing. The third thing is trying to tell people that this is what you should be spending big money on. You don't get to decide what people are spending big money on when it's not market stipulated. The market stipulates what people are willing to spend money on. And even though people as buyers still make their own decisions on how they spend their money, they are looking at the market. They are looking at the supply and demand on the market and judging for that. They should be, at least. They shouldn't be making their purchasing decisions based on some random guy on Whatnot selling comics saying this is what you should be spending top dollar on. And then it's extremely, in my humble opinion, extremely unethical to say all of those things and then come back and say that you're guaranteed, if you buy this book for me for a bloated ass price, a book that nobody wants, but I'm telling you to buy it. I'm telling you it's a 9.8, and I'm telling you that you could send it to CGC like you're assured to get that 9.8, and that you could go off and sell it for $600. That's lies. They are lying to you. That is slimy. 100%. Let me look at some of these comments here. Bill, what's going on, Bill? Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Brenton, Ramon. Yeah, I see a lot of people on Whatnot, really. I mean, they will show off the comic and they'll point out every single little flaw and crease and everything. I'm telling you guys, there's good sellers out there than there are, untrustworthy ones. Yeah, Ryan, but I'm just here to tell you guys, I mean, you guys, and then the seller too was sitting there saying, I'm telling you how to make money. Don't fall for it, folks. He's trying to make money. He's the one trying to make money. He is the one trying to make money. if somebody is live on Whatnot selling you books, they are not trying to help you make money. Because you know what would be happening? If everything that he said was a fact, he wouldn't be sitting there selling you those books at $150. He would have sent those books into CGC his damn self, and he'd be coming up on his Whatnot show selling them already slabbed for $600. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. And it pains me to not call this person out right now. But I'm not snitching like that. This individual will get karma. You reap what you sow. I can't do it. I can't support it. And I want all of you to be aware. Now, here's the thing, like, I'm on Whatnot as Journos Comics, so I should get a personal account because, well, I don't know, a lot of people might know it's me still. But I wanted to say something in the stream to him. But again, it's not my place. It's not my place to be a police about it. I'm not going to police him. Ooh, StockX? Yeah. My son just bought some Jordans off of StockX. Dr. Lovebox. Let's see what Dr. Lovebox says. I respect people's hustle, but I ain't got time to sit for a few hours and watch someone's Whatnot auction with mostly books I don't care about. Yeah, I hear you. It can get really boring on Whatnot, but the fun thing about Whatnot, Dr. Lovebox, is you can just pull your phone out at random times and go into a couple shows and just see what a few books that they're selling, and maybe something pops up that's for you. You can always look at their inventory as well and see if there's anything for you and say, oh, hey, can you auction off that X-Men, 124 or whatever. For me, on my sales, I keep it fast paced. I keep it fast moving because I do not like people that like sit there, one book sells and then they sit there. Oh, okay. All right, let's see. What do you guys want? What do you guys want? You want Star Wars? You like Star Wars? Star Wars, anybody? Star Wars? Superman? Punisher? You guys like Punisher? Punisher? No Star Wars? No Star Wars? Spider-Man? Got more Spider-Man? Right? And it's like, okay, it's been like 3 minutes. Now, I will definitely ask. I'm like, guys, I got Star Wars, Spider-Man. Let me know in the comments. But right after I say that, I go to auctioning off another book. I do not sit and wait for anybody, but I sit there and I'm like, people are probably dropping out. So. Oh, Star Wars movies about the Old Republic? Absolutely. They're doing something with the Old Republic. I know it. They're going to have to, whether it's on Disney Plus or a feature film, we shall see. Your next says, yesterday a guy was, oh shoot, I got to catch this. A guy was trying to say his Superman 233 CGC 9.8 signature series was a 3 to 4K book. I had to say something in the chat, just gonna let it go. I hear you, man. There's been times where I have said something like if they got something wrong, I was like, no, this is not that character's first appearance. COVID fog kicking in for all those sellers that are like, yeah. Anyways, folks, so that was just one example of something that came up yesterday. It was really bad. It was just horribly bad. And I don't want to knock, somebody else said not to knock anyone's hustle. I don't want to knock anyone's hustle either, but at the end of the day, you make your bed, you lay in it. And if you're out here being slimy, man, it's just going to come back on you. A few other things that I think are imperative for us as buyers to watch out for, whether we're on Whatnot, Instagram. mostly Instagram is mostly claim sales. You will never hear me saying bid it up. And that's another thing that this individual last night was saying too, but I hear a lot of people saying that. Bid this one up. Bid this one up. Bid this one up. No. If I want to bid on it, I'd bid on it. Don't tell me to bid anything up. Oh my goodness. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Another thing that I don't like is that, oh man, this is a steal. This is a steal. And I've said for me, it's as a seller, it's about knowing what you got. And I told people like, look, this book is going for like 20 market right now. You got it for $8. I will say you got a really good deal on this. And I know I'm being honest and transparent. But for example, this guy last night, but I've seen it happen many times. This guy's already taken like it was what book was it? It was random books from the 90s. I mean, they were like key books. Oh, there was like a Spider-Man #1, the black and silver variant. Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1, the black and silver variant. That's maybe what, a $10, $15 book, maybe near mint raw. Big boy book. He was calling it a big boy book. It's not a big boy book. That's a mass-produced 2 million copy. Well, maybe the black and silver variant doesn't have 2 million, but it's a $10 to $15 book. And we don't want to bid it up. And it's not your starting bid is not a steal. You're not going to put a starting bid that's twice as much as fair market value and say, I'm giving you a discount. All right, starting bid, this is a discount right here. And then nobody buys it. You say, man, well, that was a steal of a deal. It drives me nuts. Yeah, that Mountaineer. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hold it against people if they postpone or have to reschedule. But if it's constant and becomes a problem like that, that's going to affect the perception of their business. That's any business. I mean, you go to a LCS and they open at 10 and you get there at 11 and they're closed. It's going to suck, right? I mean, maybe there was an emergency that day, but if it keeps happening, it ain't something that you're going to want to keep, having to deal with. So I absolutely hear you on that. That's like saying X-Men 1 is rare. Oh my goodness. I was watching one seller holding auctions while making barbecue, kept coming in and out the same book twice because he was not paying attention. Oh my goodness. It's one thing if it was a live auction and we're all hanging out and he's barbecuing and he's sharing, free food. Oh man, Brandon, thank you so much, Brandon, for the super chat. Who's the seller? Get it, South Park, about tree fit. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you, man. Los is in the house. What's going on, Los? Tim, what's going on, Tim? Anyone like buying on eBay? Well, Tim, that's interesting enough because I did that video a few weeks back about how people were buying these books off of this seller and whatnot. And this seller wasn't pumping them up or anything. It was just people with the FOMO, man. Getting down to that last second, getting in bidding wars and bidding these books up. There were graded books. These books were like very fine condition. None of them were gem near mint. And there was like one book that sold for $230 something, where a graded 9.0 copy sold for like $70. And this raw copy might have been around a 9.0, 8.5, 9.0, maybe a 9.2 on a good day. And I'm like, that's crazy. But like I said, that in and of itself was a bit different because the seller at least wasn't like misleading them. But look, man, eBay is still a solid place to shop around at. It really is. Most let's see, most irritating line from sellers. I got to see this. You stole that from me as a way to make you feel good about your yes. Yes, Los, I hear you. Yep, that was a steal. That was a steal. You stole it from me. That was a steal. I don't like it, especially if you know it's not a steal. That's a standard price, or no, that was kind of like above what it's going for on eBay right now. But here's one thing that's happening with Whatnot, I think. And I think this is a good thing. And let's talk about what Whatnot's doing here real quick. And again, just to preface, I love Whatnot. Much respect to the folks over at Whatnot. Much respect to what they're doing and what they built. And I think there's going to be a long, long, long success for Whatnot. But let's talk about some things here. An individual not too long ago came at me asking or making a statement saying, I just don't, everyone's a seller now. There's too many people selling comic books. And look, I'll sit here and say it's like, it is kind of crazy how so many people are selling comics. Like, does anybody just collect anymore? And I think this points to how healthy the comic book industry is right now, that even your standard sellers can spend a little extra money on the side on maybe some books that have speculation value, long-term growth value, whatever it may be. And then they can sell a little bit of comics and make a little bit of money. And then they can take that money and put it into books that they really want in their personal collection. I think that speaks to why so many people are selling comics right now, because a lot of them are just selling comics casually. They're not diehard dealers or anything like that. And that's okay. But when this individual said that they think that this is a problem, I was like, on the contrary. Everybody and their brother and their mother selling comic books should be and is, in my humble opinion, a good thing. And this is why. There's more access for more people. There is more access to more books on the market at any given time. Now, remember, I was talking about those books that were selling for crazy amounts on Whatnot, when on eBay, they're just sitting there for a quarter of the cost, half the cost. I think at certain times, people at this stage are abandoning eBay and other marketplaces and going straight to Whatnot and getting the FOMO and not even doing their due diligence in their research and comparing prices. You always got to compare prices. So what is that doing now? It's allowing folks to go into these other marketplaces and maybe now get even better deals on comics under maybe a current fair market value rather than over. So that's one thing that's happening. Another thing that I think is happening with Whatnot too, that I see already, is oh man, I gotta address, let me finish. I gotta address these super chats. I'm gonna finish my statement. Another thing that I see happening already is, I think there's already almost, I don't want to say a burnout, but like some of you folks were saying, like, oh, their sellers are up, they're taking forever to post their next book, or maybe they're just selling stuff that I don't care about at all. So there's now people got hit really hard with this influx of live sales happening all the time for multiple sellers, and it's just crazy, 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 crazy. All this access to buying books. And now we have options. I'm going to explain myself in a minute. Brandon, thank you again so much. Tell me the seller on the side. I'll have a stern conversation with him. Also, remember, 22 by 11 knows what I mean. Oh, man. Brandon, you are itching. You're itching, man. You're going to have to hit me up. Ashley, thank you. Flippers selling to flip, which is fine. Just don't overhype books. Yes, I mean, exactly. Like, I have no problem with flippers selling to flip. Just be honest. Just be honest in your flipping, man. That's it. But let me talk to what I was. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I was just stating. I think people are realizing now that there is so much product out there flooding the market. So much. And what I think it can actually do is if we control our reactionary behavior, if we don't have to see a book, we're not sitting there on whatnot and we see this book and we have to have it and we get into bidding wars. Control the reactionary behavior, control the FOMO, and think about it. And we start making sound decisions. And we can say, okay, this is a common book. I'm willing to pay $5 for it. Once it hits over that $5 mark, $6, let it go. Let somebody else have it, because you know that you could pop up into another seller's whatnot sale 30 minutes later or the next day or in that same moment. Hop on out of there and hop over to another one and maybe get that book for that $5 or $4 that you're more comfortable with. eBay commanded for a very long time premium prices, right? eBay has always commanded premium prices for most books, especially run fillers or lower books. Key books, sometimes you can actually find decent deals on some key books, but especially for your common books or less valuable books, eBay demanded a premium. Like, say, I could go into an LCS and find, a random book for, I was going to pull one out, but whatever. I could find a random Batman book for $3 in the back issue bins. Say I'm a collector of Batman. I'm just collecting the run to read it, and I'm missing issue 608. And well, actually, I think 608 is the first appearance of Anarchy, so that's probably not a good one. Let's say issue 610. I could get it for $3. I could walk into an LCS, buy for $3. If you go on eBay, you're probably going to find it maybe for $4, $5, $6, and you're going to have to pay $3, $4 shipping, maybe $5 shipping. But if you don't have access to that to an LCS, you might be willing to pay a few extra dollars just to get that book. I've been there before. I was reading Spider-Man, one of the Spider-Man runs. I think it was Web of Spider-Man, and I paid about $7. It was the book plus shipping, $7 or $8 for a book. I could have got it in LCS for $2 to $3, but I didn't want to leave my house. I wanted the book, and I just said I'm going to pay a few extra dollars to have it shipped. That's what we're paying for with eBay, or what we've been paying for. That's the convenience, right? But now, and it usually was convenient for those that don't have that access to LCSs, right? But now, we don't just have eBay. Now we could sit on our couches, in our homes, and we could go on eBay, we could go on Mercari, we could go on Facebook Marketplace, but we could go on IG live sales, Facebook live sales, whatnot live sales, and we got so many sellers selling all the time. It's almost like we're walking into a virtual con. It's almost like we're walking into can imagine a strip mall. Imagine there's a strip mall in every single lot, every single unit in the strip mall is a different comic book store. And you can walk into one comic book store, go through the back issue bins, walk out, go to the next store over, go into that comic book store, look at the back issue bins. Now, the idea of convenience, of sitting on from the comfort of your own home on your phone, was the convenience of not having the availability of going somewhere and finding that book for a fair market value for an LCS. We'll pay a premium on eBay. But what does it do? How does it change the dynamic when you have so many competing at once virtually? Now, you could still say there might be a premium still because you're still sitting in the luxury of your home or your car or on a lunch break at work. You still aren't going to one specific location to find an LCS. Maybe people are still willing to pay premiums because of that. But I'm going to tell you all, watch for the paradigm shift. Watch for the paradigm shift, because I do believe, what's going on, JB, Geo? I do believe that the influx of access we have to comic books being sold on demand all at once online, I think fair market values now are going to even out. I think there's going to be a more competitive fair market value across LCSs, eBays, and whatnot. I think people are going to smarten up and they're going to control their reactionary behavior when they're on whatnot. They're going to be able to sit and compare it to eBay prices and say, man, I could buy that on eBay right now for half the price. I could buy that on eBay right now for $10 cheaper. But I do think it's opening the doors for LCSs to be comparable to your online dealers as well, because if the fair market value margin of a book from LCS to, say, whatnot to eBay is, say it's a book that is selling for $100 on whatnot. And well, no. Let's not do such a high book. Say it's a book that's selling for $15 on whatnot. Maybe you could get it for $11 on eBay, but that LCS has it for $6. That LCS might be able to now raise their price a little bit to maybe $9 and still compete with eBay and whatnot. And then what's going to start happening is all of these platforms are going to have to use competitive pricing to find more of a market equilibrium. So while right now, this is what's happening right now with whatnot. Prices are like this. eBay's somewhere in the middle. Maybe LCSs are down here. Who knows? I mean, sometimes LCSs ask for high premiums and they overcharge, and like, I'm not paying that, so I'm not even buying anything. But I really think there's going to be more. I'm not saying it's ever going to equal out, because supply and demand always comes down to what's the supply available on the market at any given time. At any given time. And all it takes is a few different people to drive, especially if it's an auction, to drive that price up. They want it now. There's not that many out there on the market at this given time. But again, I do believe that there's some positives in so many people selling books right now, whether on IG, whatnot, or where it may be, because that just means more options for us as buyers to find a book that we want and to pay a price that works for us, if that makes sense. All right, let's get to some comments. Let's get to some comics. Comments. Ryan, reactionary behavior. That's it right there. I ended up getting a slab Star Wars book on eBay instead of whatnot at a particular moment in the live sale. Good job, Ryan. Yeah, Dan, that's going to be across the board. And that was already happening like before the pandemic and everything. Mark, what's going on, Mark? Silver Age and Bronze Age, even for standard run fillers, they continue to increase. I mean, you got inflation alone driving those prices up, but the demand is there as they age out. The demand is there for Silver Age and Bronze Age books, even if they're not huge keys. Peter asked, but how do you track what a book is selling for? It's about you tracking it yourself, right? So it's not necessarily about tracking it to find a fair market value. What you're going to do when you're on whatnot is you're going to be smart because you're going to know your budget, but then you're going to be, looking at eBay, look at Mercari, and you're not going to be hitting that auction button or that bid button for a price that doesn't work for you. And you're going to automatically affect the fair market value on the whatnot marketplace, because you're going to have control to not allow the book to go crazy. And you're going to monitor this stuff. So it's not necessarily about having this, algorithm or database of whatnot fair market values. I would like to see, though, I would like this to happen. I would love to see whatnot have some type of database given to Cover Price or Key Collector and Go Collect. Now, the only way that they'd be able to do that is if and this is what I do. So say I was selling Avengers Annual number 10, and say it was in a 7.5, and I was selling, and it sold for $80, right? And I have the listing set at Avengers Annual 10, and the grade is 7.5. If I have that information, they could create an algorithm where it pulls the information, goes into a database, and Cover Price can calculate it into all their sales records. Key Collector can calculate it into their sales records. But if I'm selling this book and I have like auction item number 185, there's no way to track that. So maybe at the very minimum, Whatnot could come up with something where it actually pulls in and collects books that have the actual name, if it's raw, if it's graded, in the estimated grade if it's raw, the actual grade if it's graded, and the sales price. And then they can distribute that data to all the databases out there, like Cover Price, Go Collect, and Key Collector. I think that would be absolutely great to do if they're ever able to do that. Brandon says prices on Whatnot are high if you follow the wrong people, just like on eBay. Absolutely, because guys, for as many times as there are crazy prices going, there are deals to be found on Whatnot as well. I'm telling you. I've seen them. I've sold some. I sold so many books for not only under my sticker price, but way under fair market value, because my sticker price on most of my books, or on, I would say all my books, are still under the going fair market value. I make sure of that. Why are people paying higher prices on Whatnot? Excuse me, guys. Let me clear my throat real quick and get some water and answer that question. Okay. First off, I think it needs to be stated that there's always been people paying high prices somewhere. It's always been here. But I think what's going on and Whatnot is, number one, it's a spur of the moment reactionary behavior. The fight or flight, I need to have right now. And when that clock starts ticking down, and this happens on eBay too. It happens on eBay. Maybe not to the extent of what we've seen sometimes on Whatnot. I don't know. But I think that's number one. It's the FOMO, fear of missing out. They really have this fear that's driving them, and they just keep clicking that bid because they want to win. They want to win. They want to win. It is a very it's a deep-rooted psychological issue that I've touched on this in the past too. And it's very socio-cultural, because we accept this type of behavior, not just with comic books, but that instant gratification, that need for instant gratification that literally triggers a high. Our endorphins go crazy. It triggers a high. We get it with social media all over the place. We get it in life. We get it with gambling. I mean, there's so many avenues that drives this type of behavior. It's there in comic books. That's one thing. Secondly, I think people are uneducated. I absolutely think people are uneducated to what they're buying. And to pair with that, there's a lot of sellers that are uneducated. Like the sellers that were saying Amazing Spider-Man, what was it, $6.23? That was like, $5 book. The first appearance of Simple Simon. Simple Simon is a nobody character that showed up in 2 issues of Spider-Man, never to be seen again. He was like some nobody in the background. And they didn't even know it was a graded book. It was a CBCS graded book. And they didn't even know how to read the label correctly. It said first appearance of Simple Simon, Vulture appearance. Because it had an appearance of the Vulture in it. And they were like, oh, this is Simple Simon Vulture. This is the first appearance of Simple Simon Vulture. The Simple Simon Vulture, man, this is a huge key. And they said that. I'm not even lying. This is a huge key. That book sold for over $300. You could get that book raw and high grade for $5. So when you pair uneducated buyers with uneducated sellers or slimy sellers, unethical sellers, you get a lot of that as well. And then lastly, I think one of the reasons is there are people that are willing to pay a little bit more because I feel like they feel there's an attachment to the seller. They have some type of attachment, like fan to content creator, fan to, something like that. And maybe they're just willing to support that person and pay a little more, which I'm not necessarily mad at. I mean, that's fine and that's on them. So I think it is an accumulation of all those things. Ramon, I like my store A1 Comics that I love and support so much. Most of the times I buy from them is when they have their 50% off sales. I'll save my money and I'll hit their 50% off sales. Why not? They have them. I know they have them timely. They're every other month or once a quarter. I'll save up and just only buy my back issues when they're having a huge sale. Why not? Right? Got to be a smart buyer, especially if you're on a budget. Bill says, number one problem with Whatnot is overgrading. Bill, one of the number one problems with anybody selling comic books is overgrading. That's not a Whatnot thing. eBay is horrific. Sellers on eBay in their grading is horrific. It's like a VG minus, which is a 3.5. And if you guys are familiar with the 3.5, a 3.5 can have a lot of damage. According to most eBay sellers or many eBay sellers, a VG minus is the new term for fine. Oh my gosh. A very fine book is a very good book these days. A near mint book is a book with like 5 spine ticks. Overgrading is a problem everywhere, hands down. Don't buy from a seller that doesn't show you the comic book first. Absolutely. Yeah, mystery boxes aren't really for me. There are a couple people that do some good mystery boxes. A1 Comics does some solid mystery boxes. Painted Pages. Yep, I'm going to highlight this, Painted Pages. I appreciate this because I'm going to tell you guys right now. You can like Tom. You can not like Tom and his channel. Maybe you're not a fan of his channel. Maybe you love him. But one thing that you can't do, I mean, you can say it all you want. I don't want to hear anybody talking about Tom running up his books because he doesn't. I've seen it, Painted Pages. I've seen him do that. And when somebody overpaid for a book after telling him to slow down, He went and grabbed a stack full of comics to throw in with the comic that he purchased because he knew that he overpaid. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I've said this before and I'll say this again. It's so ironic that some of the big names in this community, like either content creators on YouTube or maybe they're big name sellers on Instagram, a lot of these folks that get a lot of crap talked about them, they're the most honest and transparent sellers out there. Some of the most slimy, unethical sellers out there are random sellers that don't even have YouTubes or IGs, or they're store owners. And that's where I get on people that say, oh, I don't like content creators that are pumping and dumping books and they just sell books. Like an LCS owner can be guilty of being unethical. Just because you got a YouTube channel, you're unethical? Nope. Charles, it's full. People are talking about mystery boxes and and I'm not sure what Charles was trying to say there. I apologize, Charles. Funko Pops is going ridiculous too. Yeah, I don't pay any mind to Funkos, but I can imagine, man. I can imagine. I've seen some toy sales too where toys are just going crazy. Yep, I got some original Thundercats action figures I should probably auction off. They might go wild on the whatnot. Simple Simon. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little behind on a Funhouse. What's going on, Funhouse? I'm a little behind on the chat, but I'm trying to catch up. Geo. Listing a key for slightly less to get more at auction. All you need is 2 stubborn bidders to feel invested. That's 100% true. And look, man, like I'm telling you, man, there's good business and there's bad business. Slimy sellers are out for one thing. They're out to prey on you. They're there to prey. And they think in their minds, they think that being this type of an individual is what's going to make them the most money. They don't care about anything else other than making money. Somebody that sits there and tells you that a raw book is a 9.8 and says, I'm trying to make you money. Buy this from me for $150, send it into CGC and you can sell it for $600. I'm schooling y'all. I'm schooling y'all how to make money. The only thing that person wants to do is fatten his pockets. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the hobby. He cares about fattening his pockets. Or, if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, because I don't want to sound like an asshole, maybe some people were raised like this. And it's like just culturally embedded in them to be snaky. And maybe they don't even recognize what it is that they're doing and how detrimental it can be. But for the most part, you know, these people are usually a certain type of people and they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, 100%. Just don't fall for it. It is bad business. And while they're out for a quick buck and to fatten their pockets, they're not going to last. They're not going to last. They're not going to build a brand. The best companies that succeed understand how to listen to their employees, how to listen to their customers. Even big multi-million, multi-billion dollar entities are realizing this. We as consumers have all the power in the world, unless it's like a monopoly or a scarce resource like your energy, which is a necessity, right? We have no ability of choice when it comes to who supplies our energy. So they price gouge because they have a monopoly. grocery stores, fast food, coffee, restaurants, Mexican food, sushi, Italian food, whatever it is, comic books, electronics, cars. Cars may be a little different. I shouldn't have said cars. We as consumers have all the power, and we have the power of choice because we could take our money somewhere else. And we live in a society right now where more power, more consumers are realizing that, and even these big companies are understanding. It's like Walmart supplying having inventory of organic products, organic foods and organic products. It's because they know that there's buyers out there that are going to go to another store if Walmart doesn't sell organic products. So what do? They tend to what the consumer wants. You're not going to get those consumers by lying about a product being organic and it not being organic. Nature Valley already got in trouble by doing that and getting slapped with a lawsuit, right? That's a true story. The point I'm trying to make is, are you in it for the quick buck, or are you in it to build a brand on a culture that speaks to the values of a community, of your consumers and of your buyers, that takes care of them, that's honest and transparent with them? Because if you do that, you're going to have more success in the long run. Like, from all the whatnot sales that I've had, I guarantee you, I could have hyped up my books in a different way, and I could have made more money. I could have made more money. Like the newsstand thing. Like, if I was going to sell this book, this is a Thor, a 30-cent Thor. I got it at a very fine 9.8. Thor number 256. This is a nice higher grade and an 8.0. I got it at $7. Right? When this book come out? 70, 78? Somewhere around there? 77? Newsstand! If I tried selling this book, put it up for auction, started at a $5 starting bid or whatever, and I'm like, really, really high grade, 8.0, newsstand copy, guys, newsstand copy. I guarantee you this book would probably go for like $20. But what's the problem with me pumping up this book from 77 or whenever this came out? What's the problem with me 76, 77? What's the problem with me hyping up newsstand? There was like no direct market back then. All of your books were newsstand. Uneducated buyers, right? Yeah, step in, Razor. I hear you. I try to be conservative with my grading because you always want to be lower rather than too high. And I do my best to do that. Dion, what's going on? Dion, let's see. I'm trying to get caught up. I'm just going to breeze through some of these. Square circles, what's going on? We have a choice not to buy too. Square circle, absolutely. But we choose to spend the money and give it. Yep. That's the thing. And that's why I said, if the seller's being honest, like some of these whatnot sellers I've seen, if they're being honest and you're still hitting that bid button, I can't blame anybody but you. You're the one wanting to dish out your pockets. Expensive papers in the house. What's going on, Jacob? Oh, thanks, Jacob. Appreciate it. You know what? I don't mind the barcodes. Especially, when there was more of a direct market and the barcodes got a little bigger. I don't mind the barcodes. That's just me though. All right, folks. We're not ending here. We're gonna do our final segment, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But I want to wrap up on my point being made today. I didn't really know where this was gonna go. A lot of you know that I had a rough, crazy week. And I just saw the seller last night and got inspiration for this show and just felt I'm gonna address this. So again, guys, I really want, look, as consumers, as collectors, as buyers, be smart. Be smart. Don't give your money to snakes. Be smart. Know what you're doing. And to all those sellers out there, guys, I mean, you could just be honest, man. You just be honest. You could be a hype man. You can even be pushy to an extent if that's you. I don't like being that. But just be honest. Stop trying to freaking be this used car salesman. You're really acting like a pimp. You're really acting like a $2 pimp, if you want to be honest. And it's not a good look. You may get a few sales here and there. You may get a few sales here and there that are way above fair market value, and you may think you're winning, but you're not. You're not. Be honest, guys. It's gonna come back to do more for you in the long run than your few extra bucks in your pocket right now. So oh, my best friend is hanging out. Yo, Han. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, guess what? Shoot me an email. You want to come hop on the stream? I would love to have you as a guest. I would love to have you as a guest right now. Here's my email. Here's my email. You are my number one fan. You are here all the time, hanging out. You are my number one fan. I want my viewers to be able to see you come on for us to have a discussion live. There's my email. Send me an email, right? Or shoot your email. Type your email in the comments. I'm going to send you the link. I'm going to send you the link to hop on. Invite. Here we go. Invite, copy. I got it copied right here. Huh? What's your email? What's your email? What's your email? Come on, man. You want to talk about being a man? What's your email, hon? What's your email? This is I love it. What a finale, guys. What a finale. What a finale. My number one fan, dude. I'm waiting, hon. It's on you, man. It's on you. I got the link copied. I'm ready to paste it in your email right now. Face to face, man. My number one fan with me. Let's do it. We got over 50 people still here hanging out. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. What's up, hon? Where'd you go, hon? What's up, hon? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Guess what? I'm gonna bring it out. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me, hon. Talk that shit. Fuck, you don't know where the fuck I'm from. I seen you yesterday in my show. This dude's always wanting to be a man. Be a motherfucking man your damn self, boy. Come hop on the show, motherfucker. What's up? You want? I keep my show. I keep my show PG, man. I really do. Right on, Brandon. If you guys got your kids watching, just edit that part out. But Han ran. He ran, man. He ran real scared. Funny shit. I love you, Han. No, on a serious note, and I always do this. I always do this when my number one fans come out. I always say this because, look, seriously, I'm going to address this seriously. Still here? What's up, man? Where's that email? Where's that email, man? Where's that email? You sure got quiet for a minute. What's up? Where's that email? I don't want to take mental issues lightly. And for people to act in certain ways that they do, sitting behind a screen, it speaks volumes. And I don't know what people are going through, but Han, I'm gonna tell you, man, I I pray for you, and I feel bad for you because you got something going on in your life that's a problem. And I've never walked in your shoes, and I don't know what it is, but I feel sorry for you that you have so much hate in your heart. For you to do what you do. And it pains me. So I want you to know that whatever it is that you got going on in your life that makes you feel like you're so small. You're so small that you sit behind a screen and you belittle and you talk that shit and you just let out all that hate. Whatever it is, if you want to have a real conversation, man, hey, I'll hop on the phone. I would rather that than see someone like have serious like mental health issues. I mean, people have been cooped up for 2 years with COVID. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But look, there's 2 ways that we can handle this. You can bring out the Oni in me and you can eat your words. Because I find it hilarious that people that hide behind their screens talk big. You don't know where I'm from. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know me. You think I give everything on this channel because I talk about comic books. We could go that route, or we could get real serious and say that we can be here for you, Han. You don't need to feel alone and irrelevant. But I'm going to tell you right now, doing what you do ain't never going to make you relevant. Doing what you do ain't never going to do anything to fill your empty soul. It just is you living in that same misery, dwelling in it, being that victim. But I'll tell you one thing about this community, Han. This community right here, everyone else that's right here right now, no matter how much you sit here and troll and talk that shit and act like a freaking 5-year-old child, act like you're, turf banging, which, like I said, boy, you don't know me. I guarantee you, no matter how much you do that, when you're ready, this community right here will welcome you with open arms. Because we actually care about real life shit. We actually care about human beings, which we are. I don't care if we're sitting in different states, just reading type words on a screen. We give a shit. This is a community. So you could be about it and be a part of it. Or you could go be miserable and take your shit somewhere else, man. So, I gave you an opportunity. I gave you my email. I have the link ready to copy and paste. You could come on the show. You can hang out with Oni, or you can hang out with Journo in this community and be a part of something. But with that being said, I'm going to move on. Because I gave you enough attention than you deserve. I gave you way more attention than you deserve. The ball's in your court, but for now, I'm going to continue my show. All right, guys, we are back to just we're gonna have fun for the rest of the show here. I do want to say one more thing. I'm gonna remind everyone about why we're here, and it is about building community and using comic books as a common ground to build with each other as something we loved. All right, guys. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Let's do it. So we put to bed the topic of discussion for tonight. Let's get to the question. So for those that don't know this segment, hold up. Let me bring up the banner. Gotta have the banner. All right. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. You guys can ask me anything and everything. Doesn't have to be comic related. Just keep it PG-13. Be respectful. And I got to give it all to you guys. All right. Let's do it. Let's see. Like somebody has the power to give me permission to do anything. Anyways, let's see. All right, guys. Who would win in a fight, Storm or Magneto? Wow. Who would win, Storm or Magneto? I think Magneto. I'm gonna say Magneto. I mean, Storm would need some more of her X-Men partners, man. I'm going Magneto. Yep. Ooh, Terry says Storm. I think Storm could kind of like catch him off guard for a minute and hold her weight for a minute, but Magneto's gonna handle it, man. Weather is magnets, man. Yeah. Yeah, with all that electricity involved too, something, I don't know. The blinding rain. That's what, yeah. All those elements, like I said, could maybe tie them up for a minute. It ain't lasting that long, though. All right, guys. Next question. Wes, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. Wes is the only one that can make jokes about my hat. He's the only one that has permission to make jokes about my hat. Or my hats. Nobody else. Do I think Doctor Strange will do better than Spider-Man No Way Home box office numbers? God, that's so tough. Oh, man. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's going to come close. I think it might even maybe equal opening weekend. Maybe. But I think it's going to tail off faster. I think numbers are going to tail off faster than No Way Home. I still think No Way Home is going to be better than have higher numbers than Multiverse of Madness. Most undervalued DC character. Okay, so you guys know how I feel about the term undervalued. I feel like it's used way too often and too loosely. My first answer to that is going to be Superman. And you guys might laugh at me. Superman is the most undervalued DC superhero outside of his Golden Age stuff, because it's Golden Age stuff. And I'm going to tell you why. Superman books sell for way under any other DC stuff, especially Silver and Bronze Age. It's crazy sometimes how low, unless it's key stuff, it's crazy how low some of his books go for. But, and also I meant to say, there's very little keys or noticeable keys in the Bronze to Copper Age. And I say it's undervalued because we forget that Superman is the first ever superhero. But yet, we somehow tired of him during the Silver to Modern eras almost. It's crazy how that works, right? I think Red Hood though is another one that's undervalued because people haven't recognized his potential. I think Red Hood's going to have a huge future. But the one that I'm going to say is my number one, where, and maybe I'm biased because I really enjoy the character, but I can't believe how undervalued, in my opinion, I'm using the word undervalued, Deathstroke's key comics are. I think Deathstroke, in my humble opinion, is the most undervalued DC character. Top 5 favorite songs. Wow, that's tough, man. That's tough. Top 5 favorite songs. Staring Through My Rear View, Tupac, obviously. It's really hard to pick a favorite Tupac song because so many of them are so great. I got to put Someday Never Comes, Creedence Clearwater. Man, this is tough. This is real tough. I could put Tracy Chapman in there, Heaven's Here on Earth. The thing, there's got to be another Tupac in there as well. Probably an Outkast song. The thing is, I would go more for albums. I go more for albums instead of just songs. But those are just a few off the top of my head, man. It's really hard. Nas, One Mic is one of my favorite songs. But there's so many, man. There are so many. JB, if you could go back in time and bring back one comic in mint condition, what comic would it be? AF-15. Absolutely. I wouldn't even do Action Comics number 1. Amazing Fantasy 15. Hands down. No ifs, ands, or buts. Doctor Doom versus Kang. I'm going to say Kang. You're next, said Deathstroke. Yep. Who would win in a fight? The Crow. Who would win in a fight? The Crow, Johnny Depp as Deadman, or Batman? Wait, what? Brandon, I'm not. I don't know if I'm understanding that. The Crow, Johnny Depp as Batman or as Deadman? Come back to me with that one. Most overrated DC and Marvel person. Ooh, gosh, man. Marvel, you guys are going to hate me. Deadpool. I'm sorry. Deadpool is the most overrated character ever, in my humble opinion. I like the character. I like his look, and I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. But I've never been on the Deadpool hype train, but I get it. Hey, if it's for you, I'm not knocking you. That's just me. DC, man. DC, maybe Aquaman, but Aquaman's not that popular. I just can't stand Aquaman. I think he's like the wackest villain or superhero ever created. It's garbage. Garbage. What's better, Peter Parker Spider-Man or Web of Spider-Man? Okay, Terry, there was Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, right? But then remember this, the Todd McFarlane 90s Spider-Man turned into Peter Parker Spider-Man in the later 90s. So if you're talking about Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, I'm going to say Spectacular Spider-Man, a notch up of Web of. But those two runs in the late 70s and into the 80s were both very underrated runs, in my humble opinion. Both of them. Ooh, Swamp Thing. Viper, that's a good. Hey, I give it to you. You know, and I haven't been too much into horror my whole life. And I'll admit, Swamp Thing is one that didn't come to my mind, but that's a good. I think that's good. Ken, you're right about Superman. I don't think Lobo is undervalued because I don't think DC has utilized Lobo correctly. See, and this all goes back to how we use the term undervalued, folks. I think if DC utilizes Lobo better, there should be a lot more there for the character Lobo. No Ice Cube in terms of top 5 songs. Nah. I love Cube. You know, I call him the heart of NWA. Really. But and you know, he's top 20. Some people put him in their top 10. But in terms of songs, man, I don't have any specific song that makes him a top 5. Oh my gosh, I'm the West. I'm not even going to read that. Let's see. Best McFarlane cover, man. ASM 300. He's done a lot of great Spawn work, man. But I just personally, I love ASM 300. I can't get enough of the cover swipes, of the homage covers. I can't. Something about that round border in Spider-Man popping out of it. I think he's done a lot more in-depth covers where there's much more intricacy going on. You know what I'm saying? But I love that cover. And I always will. Mike Tyson or Steven Seagal. Oh man, I got today, like right now, if they fought right now, I don't know. I know Mike Tyson just got back into shape. I don't know where Steven Seagal has been. And how old is he now? In his 70s? I think Mike Tyson would win back then and now. But I give it to Steven, man. I mean, he kicked ass for sure. Aquaman could be cool if he was Namor, but he's not. Spidey villain that I want to see on screen. Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, hands down. Lowe's favorite new or up-and-coming artist. What do you mean by artist? Comic book artist or like musician? The Gibbon. Nukes is here hanging out. What's going on? I sold a complete Spectacular Spider-Man and Web Spider-Man run to a buddy of mine. Oh, that's awesome. The best Lobo comic? Man, his first appearance. You would think, right? Or are we talking story here? We are Venom. What's going on? Nah, no Vaseline. I mean, I wouldn't even hit him up as a Tupac head in a top 5. I mean, it's like for me, when you talk about top 5 songs, they're gonna have depth and emotion. You know, something that really touches me. Maybe you could put No Vaseline in as a top 3 diss track, but ain't no way I'm putting it in like a greatest song of all time. I mean, you know, I'm gonna go back to I'll go to some Sam Cooke. I'll go to some Sam Cooke, some Nina Simone. Before, you know, I'll even go to some Beatles, some like Let It Be, before I go to hip hop diss track, and that's just my opinion. And even deep songs like, The Message, Melly Mel, or like Nas's One Mic, or so many by Tupac, like Me Against the World or Dear Mama, Staring Through My Rear View, that have that depth and that substance. Who Do You Believe In is another one by Tupac that just has so much substance. I'm putting those. That's why I said like Creedence Clearwater, Someday Never Comes. I mean, I get emotional every time I hear that song. I can hear that song 1,000 times. It don't matter. Oh. Who asked the top 5 songs? I'm adding one. I can't believe I forgot this. Don McLean, Vincent. Hands down. Don McLean, Vincent is in my top 5 greatest songs of all time. So we got some Tupac. We got some Creedence Clearwater. Probably got some Tracy Chapman. Probably some Nas or Outkast. And then Don McLean, Vincent. One of the greatest composed pieces and written pieces of all time. Batman 423 Bleecker is absolutely up there. And I talked about this book recently. That book is going, as the legend of Todd McFarlane continues to grow, that book is going to keep growing and growing, man. I'm telling you. You're right. I will put that one right up there with ASM 300. Yep. I know, Brandon, a lot of people are sick of seeing the ASM 300, but that's why you're sick of seeing it, because it was that good, in my opinion. Will the Shadow make a comeback? I don't know. I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Who holds the property rights to the Shadow right now? Is it still Dynamite? If it's Dynamite, we got to get Nick Berriucci. We got to start hitting Nick up and saying, hey, you got to get with the studio and get some live action property going on or something. The Shadow is a dope character. I didn't mind the movie too. With Alec Baldwin. I didn't mind that. I enjoyed that movie as a kid. But that was Alec Baldwin that played the Shadow, right? Pretty sure. And then there was a few as a kid. Darkman with Liam Neeson. That one was dope. That was Sam Raimi. Great score too by Danny Elfman as well. Raw comics or slabs. Dan, you know. Raw comics all day, but I've grown to enjoy the slab comic and what it means to me. Not necessarily trying to get that 9.8 or, but I think, like, if you guys know that most of my graded comics are Spider-Man comics because I love Spider-Man. And I think it's a cool way to house my Spider-Man books that are important to me. But Raw comics all day, every day. Hail Mary, classic. I could say, when it comes to is it vain if I said some of my favorite songs are the songs that I got to do with the Outlaws, Tupac's group. I never got to do a song with Tupac, but being able to network and make music with his people, man, one of the greatest blessings that I've ever had in my life, outside of more important things like having kids and all that stuff. But amazing experience. Oh yeah, Brandon, I hear you. Hit him up. I don't, as a diss track, hit him up. I mean, it was probably one of the most vicious diss tracks. And the beat was great, but I wouldn't, there's a lot. There's plenty. I mean, Ether. A lot of people put No Vaseline as the best diss track of all time, but Nas's Ether, man, that's what did it for me. That's my number one diss track. Favorite jazz song? Wow. I mean, I can't I can't give you, I don't listen to jazz like that to where I know. And I mean, I don't know if you would take in like genres that crossed over with jazz, like would you consider Billie Holiday or, even Nina Simone, like, even though that's more like blues and rock and roll, you got jazz elements in there. But I just never really sat there and dove into jazz as a genre to where I can like actually sit and hold a conversation about it. I can't fake the funk. We're looking for an affordable copy of Batman 423 for the artist Tim Stacy to go with the statue his kids bought him. It's his grail. That is awesome. Anybody got a Batman 423 out there? Hit up X11 on Instagram. All right, guys, we got a few more minutes here. I'm going to get to a couple more questions. That's true, Brandon. NWA, mate, speaking your mind to think. Brandon, here, you're bringing up so many points that I agree with here, but weren't you like hating on Tupac not too long ago? But you're bringing up points that I think would shed light on what Tupac was and what he was doing. But we're still going to have that discussion. We're still having it. And I'm going to bring on a good friend of mine, a good friend of mine, my brother from another mother, when we have that discussion, which we will in the near future, for sure. Who is your favorite wrestler? In one of your vids, I saw a Becky Lynch Funko. Yeah, that's up there. Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was just savage, man. Oh, I like that idea, Wes, about the homage covers from Gold Key Books. I like that. Ernesto says no love for Easy. The thing is, Easy didn't write his own lyrics, so you gotta love Easy for what he did as a businessman and making all of it happen. But Real Compton City G's is still one of my a classic for me too. But he didn't really write his own stuff, so I can't. As a rapper myself, I would never use a ghostwriter. I would never write. I would never let somebody else write lyrics for me. Some people think it's cool, but I think it's like when you sing with singing, there's a lot of people that have amazing voices, but don't have the ability to write a good song. They're not good writers. And then there's people that can write good songs, but don't have a good voice. So songwriting and singing and singers using songwriters works like that. But for rapping, anybody can rap. You can have you can have a nasally voice like Nas, or you could talk from the throat like Tone Loc or something like you could talk from the chest like Tupac. You could you could be a big dude like Biggie and just have that deep tone, and you can have any type of voice and learn how to flow and learn how to rap bars and write lyrics. I don't care. You don't need a voice for it. If you can't write your own bars, you ain't a rapper. Don't fake the funk. That's how I see that. And I'm not knocking Easy, man. I love Easy, but that's just me. All right. Let's see. Brandon, he wrote his lyrics. I bet BG Knockout and them probably helped assist him in the studio though at times. I could definitely see that. But big ups to Easy. I know I had the album, what was it? Not the Easy Does It album, but the one that came out like right after he died. What was that album called? That was a good album though. That was a good album. And Easy was never the best rapper, but he didn't need to be, right? Jonathan, okay, this is going to be the last question, guys, and then I got to get. Is Captain Marvel's 17-second print a good long-term hold? Jonathan, what is Captain Marvel 17? Are you talking about the recent run? Is that the first appearance of oh my gosh, like what is it, like the cousin of, or the sister of somebody, let me know in the comments real quick. Peter, yeah, LL Cool J literally ended Cannabis's career, literally, which I think was unfair. Shouldn't have happened. Brandon, this is where you're dead wrong. Brandon, let me just speak to something real quick, okay? And we can have this in the conversation. I mean, we can do this in the Tupac conversation, but I got to bring this up right now. There is a difference between identification and glorification, okay? You got so many rappers over the years that put a persona on and glorify that gang life, that street life, etc. Tupac identified with it more than anything. He identified it. And when he did songs, when he said, I'm up before the sunrise, first hit the block, little bad mother with a pocket full of rocks. Learn to throw them things, get my skinny little ass kicked. They laugh until the first mother got blasted. They put it in his casket. Now they cover in the bastard in plastic. What's he talking about? He's painting a picture. He's painting a picture of the environment that he grew up in. Now let's go back to it. I'm up before the sunrise, first hit the block, little bad mother with a pocket full of rocks. I'm coming up in an environment where I may be doing what I need to do to sell some dope, to make money, whatever. Learn to throw them things. Got my skinny little ass kicked. That's the environment I lived in. And everything that he said so far, he lived. Until the first mother got blasted. They put the in his casket. Now they cover in the bastard in plastic. And listen to how he's saying it. He's painting up, he's not glorifying gang violence. He's painting a picture of what it's like to grow up in that environment. And he's painting it the way he's saying it. Until the first mother got blasted. Now they're covering the bastard in plastic. It's like you feel that. You see it. You see it. He is not glorifying. He is identifying. There's so much of that in there with what Tupac did. In one song, he was the pimp. In the other song, he was the prostitute. In one song, he told Brenda's story. In another song, he told the pimp's story. In one song, he told the dope dealer story. And in another song, he told the Panther story, the Black Panther story. You have to understand that there is a difference between identification and glorification. But with that being said, you can't sit here and say Tupac was the actor as if he never lived that life. Tupac was in his mother's stomach in prison. Tupac was a target before he was even born. Tupac grew up in poverty. Tupac grew up with his mother being addicted to crack, went from a Black Panther to being a crack addict. He grew up in the streets. His real dad was a deadbeat dad that was out nickel and diamond dope that bounced. He moved from block to block, project to project. When he moved to Marin City, the projects in Marin City, when he was 17, he got kicked out on the streets. This is real life shit. His mother, being addicted to crack, kicked him out. He had nowhere to go, but the pimps and the dealers pulled him into the stash house. I kicked it in the same project building that he stayed at before he hooked up with Atron and his manager under Interscope and Shock G and Digital Underground. I kicked it with the same folks on that same block. This is later on after Tupac died. I kicked it with the same folks on the same block in the same project building. I heard stories about how Tupac got his ass kicked all the time because he was out on the streets. Little dude. They say, how can you survive weighing 165 in the city where the skinny die? Tell mama don't cry. Because even if they kill me, he was talking about what he was going through. Now, he went from being kicked out on the streets from Marin City to going and staying with real bangers in Oakland, in East Oakland. Richie Rich. You guys know the rapper Richie Rich? Dude was a drug kingpin. And that became one of his good friends. He got on the streets and he learned the game. And in Oakland, it ain't no joke. When Tupac became Tupac the rapper, all right? If you look at all of his music, he never changed. And that's another thing people get twisted. People say, oh, he went on death row and sold out and all this. Listen to his music from when he was rolling with Shock G and he did his first album, Tupacalypse Now, to his last album. He got more prolific and more spiritual as he matured. Some of his most prolific and deep spiritual stuff was on death row. Listen to Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, the 7 Day Theory. Listen to the Still I Rise album. I see brothers in packs dying, mothers in black crying, so many babies dying, too doped up to ask why. Watching our own downfall, witness the end. It's like we don't believe in God because we living in sin. I asked my homie on the corner why he's strapped. He laughed, pointed his pistol at the car, passed and dashed. It's just another murder. Nobody mourns no more. My teardrops getting bigger, but can't figure what I'm crying for. Is it the miniature caskets, little babies? Victims of a stray from drug dealers gone crazy? Maybe it's just the drugs. Visions of how the block was. Crack came and it was strange how it rocked us. Perhaps the underlying facts they hide explain genocide. That's when we ride on our own kind. What is it we all fear? Reflections in the mirror? I can't escape fate. The end is getting nearer. Who do you believe in? I put my faith in God, bless those still breathing. And even though it's hard, that's who I believe in. But still I'm grieving. I'm telling you, man, Brandon, you gotta listen. You gotta listen, man. Tupac was more G than any. Tupac was more G than any of the Crips, the Bloods, the set bangers to ever bang or put out music and be a rapper and bang. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Tupac banged, but he didn't bang for turf. He didn't bang for sets. He banged against the real enemy. He banged for change. He banged holding the red and the blue flag. He went to the hood, to Bloods. I don't give a if you blood or cuz as long as you got love for thugs. And remember what he meant by saying thugs, thug life. Thug life wasn't him out here glorifying violence or glorifying like I'm trying to be a thug. I'm acting. Thug life, I want to be hard and sell records. No. Thug life was an acronym. The hate you gave little infants fucks everyone. Meaning we are born into this environment as we are birthed as little seeds, as babies, as infants. And you breed the thug life. And we can't escape it. We have to find a way to escape the thug life. That's what he was saying about thug life. Have you ever read too? Have you ever read? Pac was, no, he wasn't. No, he was not a Blood. Tupac was not Blood or Crip. I just said the lyric. I don't give a fuck if you Blood or cuz, long as you got love for thugs, but don't try to test me out. Stall that, homie, this thug life, right? Listen, no, he wasn't. When Tupac said MOB, mob, it was an acronym. It was an acronym that he took. He would take things. He took the word, the N word. I'm not going to say it. It ain't my place. He took the N word, which was derived from slavery, from being oppressed, from being less than man, less than human. And he turned it into an acronym. Okay, if they're going to call us N words, if they see us as N words, then we're going to flip it because we're going to be never ignorant getting goals accomplished. I'm never ignorant getting goals accomplished. Meaning we're going to show them what an N word is. We're going to handle it. We're going to rise up from this and not be that stereotype. The same thing with the thug life, the acronym. The same thing with MOB. He took street language. He took street dialogue and flipped it around to identify. Okay, let me step back. Can you imagine if Tupac, went to Mecca, came back wearing dashikis, and went to the hood and say, Assalamu alaikum, my brother, like Black Power. Like, let's rise up from this. Look at all of the hood. Look at Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. There's always that like pro-black dashiki wearing dude in those movies, and he's the comic relief. Why? Because people in the hood that are out living that life, they don't give a shit about your pro-black, enlightenment. I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to get mine. I'm trying to make this money. What you come here and talk about, freaking Africa motherland, Black Power. Man, I'm trying to eat. Tupac knew you can't preach to the choir. In order to perpetuate change, you have to speak to the people that have their eyes closed. In order to make change in the Black community, in order to unite the Black community, Tupac couldn't be on some holier than thou, Black Power, dashiki wearing, activist shit. He had to speak their language. He did not bang as a blood. He did not bang for any of those reasons. He took the dialogue and represented everyone from these communities. Watch his interviews, listen to him talk, listen to his music, and don't just listen to the music, the few songs that the radio plays. They play Ambitious as a Rider over and over and over again, and California Love. Listen to his albums front to back. Listen to the words, write the words down. He wrote in parables like he was writing scriptures for the Bible. I'm telling you, man, Brandon, I love you, man, but if you're not hearing what I'm saying, you got to hear what I'm saying. You got to step out of your biases. And I say biases meaning what you've believed for so long. I'm not saying it as a really horrible negative thing, but you've conditioned yourself to believe a certain way. Step out of that and at least take in what I'm saying. You got to listen to it with open ears and an open heart. I'm telling you. Now, Tupac wasn't perfect. Did Tupac at certain times allow the people he was around to put him in situations that he should have known better to be in? Absolutely. Absolutely. Suge Knight was deep into that Pyru shit. Oh, also, before I continue, don't go watch those documentaries or those made for Netflix bullshit. Who killed Tupac and Biggie crap. It's bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't watch the movie All Eyes on Me. I know half of those people that they portrayed in that movie. It's bullshit. That movie portrayed Tupac to be some ignorant, angry black man that only cared about money and women. That movie is a lie. Do not watch that movie. And if you did, it's a fictional piece of crap that has nothing to do about Tupac's life. 100%. Fact. Tupac did. This isn't about the Godfather or rap or anything like that. I don't care about that. You think Eazy-E's a better rapper? Go ahead. You think Biggie's a better rapper? This ain't about that. This is about the man and his legacy and what he stood for. This ain't about he's a better rapper and all this stuff. He didn't grow up in Baltimore. Tupac did not grow up in Baltimore. Tupac grew up in Harlem, in the projects, off of like 163rd, until he was about 12, 13 years old. Then he moved to Baltimore for a few years. And even in Baltimore, he lived in the projects until he moved in with his auntie, which still, Baltimore, it is what it is. And then Afeni got hooked on crack. They moved out to Marin City in the projects. You ever seen Marin City? You ever seen Marin City? All it is project buildings. That's why they called it the jungle. It's project buildings stacked up on project buildings. And then he lived on the streets of Oakland. And then he got hooked up with Shock G and started becoming who he was. Tupac was only in Baltimore for a few years. But that's really not relevant to what I'm trying to say. Tupac, I was going back to saying, speaking the language, Tupac knew that in order for people that were living that street life, whether they were the pimp, the pusher, the prostitute, the addict, the single mother, the single father, the young kid struggling, in order to reach them, he had to identify. He couldn't sit on a pedestal and speak down to them as some righteous individual. He stayed at their level and he wrote powerful, poetic scripture and parables for them to relate to perpetuate change. Yep. Very much more revolutionary, because that's what it was about. Tupac came from that Panther blood. Like I said, look, Tupac wasn't perfect at all. He was a kid, but we see, I see Tupac as like a 40-year-old man to this day still. He was so wise above his age. And it's like we can't allow him to be human. We can't allow him to be a 24. He was barely 25. He was 25 for 2 months when he died. He was barely 25 years old. He was a kid. But yet he was so wise. And we're going to, say that we're going to condemn him and demonize him because he didn't always make the right choices. It's okay, Dan. I appreciate you being here right now and listening, though. Ernesto, nope. Look. We're gonna approach this from two different ways. One way is this. To your point, Ernesto, Tupac should have never got involved in that little beef at the MGM Grand with Orlando Anderson. He should have never even, but that I'm sure everyone was drunk and drinking that night, and everyone's riled up. And it is what it is when you're around those type of people. So to your point, Ernesto, he should have never been in that situation. I'll give you that. But Crips did not kill Tupac. Orlando Anderson was a ploy. Orlando Anderson was the scapegoat. Just like, what's his name? What's the dude who got arrested for killing Kennedy? My brain fog right now. Who shot Kennedy according to public opinion? Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald was a freaking stool pigeon, dude. Yeah, and Otako, I hear you, man. I don't care if Easy bang. Easy wasn't talking about real shit. Like Tupac was changing the world. Easy was not changing the world. Orlando Anderson didn't kill Tupac, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Thank you, Louis. Suge didn't kill Tupac either. Suge would never put himself 2 feet or 1 foot away from a target. Suge didn't kill Tupac. Orlando Anderson didn't kill Tupac. You guys watch too much YouTube or too many of these documentaries that I told you about. Turn that bullshit off. Think about it. And I don't know if we have any law enforcement. Oh man, X11, that's crazy. X11, a military member may be able to have a little insight on this, okay? X11, can you tell me in the comments how much training a police officer gets in terms of gun training, weapon training, next to a military member? Can you drop a little quick comment and shed light if you know? I don't know if you're familiar with how much training a police officer gets next to somebody in the military and the training that they get in terms of handling weaponry. Eazy-E didn't write Boys in the Hood. Ice Cube did. Yep, and it's that simple. It's that simple. Military gets far more. And I forget exact numbers for police training, but it's like they're in, they give them a cupcake, they eat a cupcake, and they're out, and they're like, here you go, here's your gun and badge. Not trying to be rude or anything, but it's very minimal. Even a police officer. We're talking about gangbangers. We're talking about street gangbangers pulling up in a car, holding a gun like this or whatever, and unloading a full clip, probably no more than 3 feet away from an open window in a car. With big ass Suge Knight. Big ass. He's tall and he's big. Sitting in that BMW, I can't imagine Suge Knight being more than 6 inches away from Tupac. A gang hit, a gang drive-by does not pull up to the side of a car, unload a full clip, and not take any, for one, not take any headshots. For two, not hit the big ass person sitting inches away from the other person that got shot up. And three, if this was gang related from the Southside Crips and Orlando Anderson, why would they only hit Tupac? Suge Knight was the head dude in charge and was the main dude kicking Orlando Anderson in the head. I don't even think Tupac got a kick in. I don't even think Tupac got a kick in. Now, I understand that Tupac was in the car with Suge, and Tupac is like the most famous rapper of all time at that point in time. I'd go after Pac and Suge, sure. You are not Orlando Anderson or the Southside Crips going and doing a drive-by in retaliation and not getting headshots, at least body shots on both of those two people sitting right there, 3 feet away, open window. Here I am. You don't. You know who does that? A trained, somebody that has not even the crooked police. And this is what I was saying. Not even the crooked police that were on the Southside Crips payroll. You get somebody with military training. Tupac was hit in all of his vital organs. In his abdomens. And up. He was hit in his kidneys and his lungs. He was hit in his vital organs. All of the bullets, if you can see, they were at a specific angle. That gun wasn't just held out of a window with somebody, boom, boom, boom. Guns kicked back. What was it? A 9mm or a 45? I don't know. I forget. That gun, if you're hitting pulling a drive-by, that gun is kicking back like this. Ain't nobody sitting there with the gun. With first off, whoever shot that gun, I guarantee you, whoever shot that gun was holding it like this. Street dudes don't hold no guns like this. Maybe crooked cops. That gun was held like this with extreme precision at a specific angle, because there was only one target that night. There was only one target, and that target was Tupac. Suge Knight was not a target. And if it was Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crips, he would have been too. Precision shots. If you look at the bullet holes in the car, all of them went into one area, one circumference area. There was two shots that went to the back door. And I'll tell you why that happened. Because they needed to make it look like it wasn't so precision. So they unloaded the clip. And before they drove off, boom, to the back door. Because if you watch that bullshit ass documentary where Ice-T was, they were looking at examining the bullet holes. They were like, you could see there was a couple of bullet holes to the back door. So whoever was shooting was kind of all over the bullshit. Here's even more evidence. Here's even more evidence to this. And this is why Tupac and Biggie's killings had nothing to do with music and had nothing to do with turf shit. They were assassinated. Let me tell you why. Yeah, that's true. And that's why I say, when you look at the crooked cops that were on the payroll, I don't know for a fact if any of them had military training, but I know damn well these street dudes, Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crips, those key members did not have any military training at all. They're straight hood dudes. It did not have to do with money either. It had nothing to do with money. Look at Biggie's assassination. Look at Biggie's hit. Oh, Puffy killed Tupac. Should put the hit on Biggie. Guys, stop it. Same thing. You got a Suburban. Now, this time, the Suburban is sitting high. You got Biggie in the passenger seat. You got all of the seats right behind him filled with people. And you got the driver's side. Now, maybe there was a little more space between them. But you got people in the back seat. Where did the bullets hit Biggie? In his vital organs. Same way. Precision shots. One hit. There was one hit order that night, and it was Biggie. It wasn't Lil C's. It wasn't anybody else that was in that car. If it was gang related, it would have been. They don't give a shit. They would have hit that car up. And you also know that these dudes got automatic weapons and probably some Uzis as well that they could have took out and unloaded on the whole car if they wanted to hit everyone up. There is much more to these assassinations than anybody has let on. Even that movie with Johnny Depp, where Johnny Depp played Officer Poole. I thought there was a lot of truth to that movie, but it's very interesting that movie was showing the FBI as the good guys. It's all propaganda, guys. Don't believe none of that crap. Don't believe none of it. Biggie was assassinated as a ploy. Biggie was assassinated merely as collateral damage, not just collateral damage, but as a way to get the scent off of what Tupac's assassination was really about. Biggie was murdered to cover up the fact that Tupac's assassination was political. I might get kicked off of YouTube. I might have the feds come knocking on my door real soon here. Biggie and Pac didn't die over some East Coast, West Coast beef, some gang beef at all. It was a political hit. And the only reason that Biggie died was because Tupac was assassinated because he was changing the world. Just like all of those that came before him, Tupac had a target on his head in the womb because he was a Panther, because he was the son of a Panther. Brandon, where is your evidence that they got killed over money? That's not true, Brandon. Military training is just to teach how to fight. That's not true. That's not true. How do you think snipers, trained snipers, these people that go on black ops missions, Marines? Come on, man. They're not just training you how to fight. This is heavy artillery training. Some of the best assassins come out of the SEALs and in the Marines and come on, special ops. Come on, man. Come on. I love you, but come on, man. There's over money. Whose money? Whose money are they getting killed over? Who didn't have money or was getting threatened by their money that they needed? I mean, come on. There's nothing there. I know that. I was just using that as an example. You're saying the military don't train, it's just fighting. Come on, man. Snipers, militia, black ops, SEALs. Come on. I apologize. If you are, so you're a military member, Brandon. I'm just saying though, you can't sum it up like that. You can't sum it up like that. Military members get more arms training than police do. And that's a fact. Oh, I see what you're saying, Brandon. I see what you're saying about the money aspect. Okay, I apologize. I can entertain that. I don't agree with you, but that's actually a fair kind of conspiracy theory. Like Tupac used Death Row, and he knew that he signed a 3-album contract. Tupac was going to be gone off of Death Row in 97. Tupac was going to spend 1 year on Death Row and be gone. So you're saying that like, oh, Tupac's leaving. He's worth more to us dead than alive. I can get behind that, but I think that's a valid, like I said, kind of conspiracy theory and argument. But at the end of the day, I still don't, there's not enough evidence there to back it up. And there is way more evidence. The hip hop police are a real thing, like the COINTELPRO was in the 50s and 60s, headed by the FBI to monitor and neutralize hip hop. And when they realized that they couldn't neutralize it, meaning stop it, they did two things. They assassinated its leader, its revolutionary leader, Tupac Shakur, and then they watered it down. And then they watered it down and commoditized it. They turned hip hop into a commodity. And even though you could go back to NWA and Ice-T, who perpetuated that gang life, they were still like revolutionary. Like they were still talking about the poverty and the violence and all this shit and getting out of the hood. But after Tupac died and Biggie died, then they start selling it as you take that out, and then it's just genocide. You know, black on black, kill my brother. You know, rape our women, over-sexualize our women. You know, condemn and kill our brothers, turn our guns on our brothers, bang, bang, kill, kill, trap, do drugs, pop pills, sip the lean, numb our brains, you know, waste away, kill ourselves one way or the other. Pimp and degrade our women. Tricks for the crime trade. More tricks for the modern day prison industrial complex. We'll use their own art. We'll use their own music. We'll use their own resource to pimp them and keep them in chains. Rap music headed by these multi-conglomerate corporate label entities learn how to keep the black man in chains and the black woman enslaved by perpetuating rap music to be a detriment against its own people. You couldn't do it with slavery anymore. You couldn't do it with Jim Crow anymore. You couldn't do it with segregation anymore. Because we fought for all those things. But every time they fought, they assassinate the head. Every time they fought, they killed Lincoln. They fought, they killed Kennedy. They kept fighting, they killed his brother. They killed Malcolm. They killed Martin. They killed Fred Hampton. They got to Bobby. They killed Tupac. Same thing, different day. I don't want to get too deep into the politics of it. It's, you know, and that's another thing with Tupac. It's not about party politics. Everything that he did, he was the system. It wasn't Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal. Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole, you're too old to understand the way the game's told. You're lame, so I gotta hit you with the hot facts. Once I release, I make a million try to top that. They want to censor me. They'd rather see me in my cell. Let me tell you guys something else Tupac did. I got to start wrapping this up, guys, but this is another thing that people don't understand about Tupac, about how he pimped the system. How do you want it? How do you want it? Right? With Casey and JoJo. Coming up in the playing a catch game, living in a fast lane, I'm for real. Tell me, is it cool to lust? You think I come to talk about a fool or what? It's like ironic on the verge of the I mean, like I've been fixed with hydraulics, up and down like a roller coaster. It's a club banger. It's a club banger. He's talking about being sexual with women. And actually, if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually pretty sensual instead of like extremely degrading women. It's more sensual. But listen to the last verse of that song. I was raised as a you. Tell the truth, I got the scoop on how to get a bulletproof. Licking shots up from the roof. Back when I was a teenager. Mobile phone, Scott Page, game rules. I'm living major. My adversaries. It's getting worried. They stressing me. They want to see me buried. What? Talking about Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole. You're too old to understand the way the game's told. He takes a club hit. He takes a club booty shaking hit and says, all right, I'm gonna make a track that you play in the club. You're gonna be drinking, smoking too, shaking that ass in the club. And then when you're not even thinking, I'm gonna drop some real shit on that third verse. And I'm gonna be subconsciously drilling you to these socio-economic conditions that we're living in. I'm gonna be drilling into you subconsciously the struggle of our people, the poverty, the injustices, while you're in a club shaking your ass. And they might not be listening to it consciously, but it's hitting them on a subconscious level. That is how brilliant Tupac was. That's just one of the million examples Man, guys, wow, so many people still here just hearing me rant about Tupac. Appreciate that. I'm going to look over a few comics, guys. I'm losing my voice, and I am going to have to end it for the night. We're going to continue on this conversation soon, though, but the dirty cops on payroll absolutely had something to do with it. I'm not denying that, but it's half truths. It's half truths. Those dirty cops on payroll. This is a fact. Okay, let me say one more thing to this. In 93, Tupac got, okay, and this is what started the beef with Biggie. People don't know this. It was personal with Tupac. Tupac was introduced to Haitian Jack. I forget his last name. Through Biggie. He was Biggie's dude. Back when Tupac was still the top big dog blowing up, and Biggie was a nobody. And Tupac let Biggie come on and open up for him in his shows. Tupac got acquainted with Haitian Jack through Biggie. Haitian Jack was the dude that introduced Tupac to the woman that accused him of rape. Now remember, the rape case, all charges were dropped except for them getting him on some type of like a sexual assault charge based on, without permission, him touching a woman's buttocks. That's what it says in the papers. That's a fact. There was no semen. There was no sign of forced entry. Tupac never raped a woman. It came to be after Tupac died, and this is a fact, Haitian Jack was a federal CI. Haitian Jack was an informant for the feds. This is a fact. They were after Tupac from the moment before he even got big, before he even became a rapper and had some type of fame. The same, so the Fed, the CI set him up with the woman to accuse him of rape. And the only people that knew Tupac was going to the Quad Studios building that night in November of 1994 was Biggie and his crew, Haitian Jack and his people. They set him up. Now, I don't think Biggie had anything to do with it. I don't even think Biggie knew beforehand, but after it happened, he knew damn well that Biggie knew it was his people, and Biggie ghosted Pac. Showed him no love while he was in jail and just started taking his spot, blowing up, taking everything that Tupac. That's why it wasn't even about no East Coast, West Coast shit. This was some serious shit. People taking hits on Tupac's life. Now let's go to the Las Vegas shooting in 96 that killed him. It is a fact that federal informants, not only were there dirty cops on the payroll of the Piru Bloods under Suge and the Southside Crips, there were also undercover federal agents working closely with both sides. How do you win? How do you neutralize? Divide and conquer. From within. How do you take down the greatest empire ever built? The Trojan horse. And that's all I'm going to say before I incriminate myself. And guys, look, I'm not saying you to come to any conclusions. But if you guys don't take everything that I said right there and at least ponder the fact that, this does seem like it's much more than just some turf banging, crooked cops on payroll, East Coast, West Coast, Pyru, South Side, Death Row, bad boy shit. Telling you. Ishmael. Any speculation of X-Men books for Doctor Strange too. He's like, I'm done with this conversation. Let's get back to comics. Ishmael, I think there could be. As of right now, though, I'm exhausted. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, and I don't even know. They could do a million things. Who knows if Wolverine's going to have a cameo? Maybe Jubilee will show up. Maybe the randomest X-Men will show up. You don't really know. But right now, my recommendation, if you want to invest in X-Men, just find some cheap keys out there. If you're willing to spend the money and take the gamble and see what happens. Yeah, man. Yeah, Dan. They give you the tools to hang yourself. Absolutely. Coffee can Jim Morrison? Brandon. Oh, you're saying Snoop was a CI? I can't speak to that, but I don't know. There you go, Louie. Thank you. Thank you. Agnat. Yep. Yep. That's true. And you can tell, man, this whole Keefy D shit, this dude took a plea bargain. This dude took a plea bargain to run his mouth. You tell me this dude should have got the electric chair. This dude is living out the rest of his life eating fucking shrimp and steak, filet mignon, comfortable in a private prison cell to come out and say, I killed Tupac. I'm done. Guys, man, don't believe everything you read. Alizé and weed. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness, guys. I love you guys. This is awesome. Oh, Bill, thanks, Bill. I can listen all day. That's like you got your Captain American. Captain America. I can listen to this all day. Right. Oh man. Yeah, Louis, I wouldn't, just so those that don't know, I actually organized with the living original members of the Black Panthers in the early 2000s. Marvin Newton, Huey's brother, Bobby Seale. I wouldn't stereotype them as Marxists, although they did obviously follow a lot of that platform. But I think when you put their work into action, I wouldn't call it Marxist. It was more socialist. It definitely was more socialist, but yeah. There's so much problem with Marxism and putting it into actual real life philosophy. But even our democratic republic is ran on some factors of socialism, social security, you know, our interstate highways are basically exist because of socialist programs. You know, there are things out there that are definitely borderlining that avenue of ideology and governing. And I think once the Black Panthers put their stuff into action, it was more socialist because it was more about the, you know, making things available for the community rather than stripping away the individual, you know, and stripping away private ownership and things like that. They really in their actions were not about that. You know, they even denounced Black nationalism. They, you know, and that's why, you know, the Black Panthers really do get a bad rap. The original Black Panthers, not, there's so many other groups that call themselves Black Panthers through the years. They were against Black nationalism. They promoted between all races and ethnicities. And, you know, there's a lot more there that I don't think gets recognized to the public. You know, they were actually a non-violent group. They were. They didn't allow people to be drunk or high coming to their functions and to work for them. You would be kicked out if you were. You had to respect women, and, you know, treat women as your equal. There's so much there that doesn't get talked about that they actually stood for. Brandon, I think Suge more than Snoop was a CI. Remember there was a time when Suge kept catching cases, but like never spent a day in jail. But then finally, I think he like ran his shit. Like, nope, we're done with you. But if anything, I would think Suge was a CI more than a Snoop. But I don't know, man. It was wild times, that's for sure. Absolutely, Louis. Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the smoke and mirrors. Collector P, Me Against the World, definitely. I mean, it's hard. Still I Rise. The Still I Rise album, like, saved my life. Me Against the World, the Machiavelli album, and Still I Rise are my top 3 Tupac albums. But it's hard for me to pick. It's hard for me to pick a top one out of all those 3. But those are my top 3 for sure. C asks, is there any hype comics you see failing? That a lot of them, yes. So be careful. Right? Yeah. You're right, Louis. And those things often get blurred with communism. That's when you take it. And so many communist leaders to Marxism or Marx, right? So, but yeah, that makes more sense for sure. Man, I gotta have you on the show sometime, Louis, if you ever want to get in front of a camera and talk about this stuff. Guys, I gotta get, man. I gotta go. I gotta eat dinner. Brandon, I love you, man. Like, I try to get to like the comments as I was ranting. So I apologize if I didn't get to like all of them. But I thank you all for staying with me doing this, and out of nowhere we just got on this Tupac hype. But I appreciate you, Brandon. You know that you're a huge supporter of the channel. Real good dude. I like some of the things you had to say today. But I hope you can kind of see where I'm coming from. you know, the whole thing about who killed Tupac, that's kind of an argument in of itself. But what I really want you to take away here is just your perception of the man and the music that he made and what he tried to do. Okay. And that might take you maybe listening to some more of his music and really listening to him or listening to some of his interviews, you know. And I'll end on this note. My favorite quote that I live by, that when Tupac saved my life, because he did. He saved my life. Literally. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. I live to be that brain, and I live to continue to spark those brains that'll change the world. So I will leave you guys at that. It's been absolutely fun. I love the input from everyone. I appreciate people that aren't even into hip hop or rap or Tupac. Dan hanging out. Louis, you know I got you. X11 for putting some great input into the conversation. Texican for livening it up is always in. And for those asking the questions, man. But I love it, Brandon. Thank you so much for being a sport. And I know it sucks. I said this when we briefly brought this up. I know it sucks that I'm the one here, like with the platform, with like the mic, and I'm the one that gets to shout my opinions. And you don't have a voice. You're sitting here typing your points, and it's not fair. But hey, man, I mean, I don't know if you're ever open to getting in front of a camera, but maybe we go at it head to head, you know, as long as you understand, no matter how much we get into it, you know, we got to dap it up and hug it out afterwards. Because at the end of the day, it's all love. It's all fun. Same with comics, guys. Don't ever let our opinions on comics or anything in life, politics, religion, anything. Don't let any of that get in the way unless somebody is being a really horrible human being and is hurting people, right? Don't let our beliefs and opinions get in the way of us sharing this love, being this community, and everything else. So, with that said, I'm sweating like hell up in here. I'm going to save the little bit of voice I have left. Guys, Comic Book Canyon, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. And I want to say, too, how long have we been live here? I don't even know. 2 hours and 40 minutes. You guys, with everything that I've been going on this week, you guys have allowed me to get my thoughts off of things. And that means a lot to me, too. It means an absolute lot. So I appreciate it. I will see you guys. I'll probably have a video to upload tomorrow. And then if not, I hope to see you guys on the Canon on Sunday. Be well, be safe. Have a good weekend.